We all
I've
we all
done
have
that.
days like that.
This is my first podcast ever. Thanks for being the guinea pigs. I appreciate it.
Our pleasure.
Absolutely.
Look, a lot of guys look at me and go, "I can experiment with this one." And like,
I thought that sense in like a band made sense, but yeah.
All right. Well, here we are. It is a lovely, lovely Sunday afternoon in our beautiful neighborhood of Millvale, Pennsylvania, within the shitbox that is Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. I'm kidding. I love Pittsburgh. We all
it's
love
a
Pittsburgh.
little goblin city, but it's my goblin city.
Of course.
Born and raised in the shitbox.
Yes. I'm the man in the shitbox, as they say.
Not a lot of people know this, but like that was the original draft title for "Man in the Box" by Alice in Chains.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well, their band name was originally "Fuck" the band. So I mean,
well, we're off to a really great start here. Already getting derailed before we do the intros properly. It's a podcast, so it's meant to be derailed. But I am sitting here with Noah and Cecily of Foamer. Make some fucking noise, everybody. Appreciate you both for coming over today.
Thank you so much.
I hear the police outside. I'm glad that you got in before.
yeah, I don't think they saw us.
You're on the run.
We're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll never guess that we're down here.
Yeah,
we just need to run as soon as we're done with this.
We didn't pay our
podcast.
bar tab last night.
Which shout outs, I saw you both less than 12 hours ago, probably at this point.
I'd take a break, which is exclusively cash only.
Yes. Hell yeah. Shout outs. Best bar in the world.
Yeah.
Love that place.
So for anyone that is new to the world of foam, for those who have not been foamed, how would you like to describe your foam to the people of the internet?
Our foam is a vibe. I mean, that's the best way I can describe it. I mean, it's noise. It's psychedelic. It's psychedelic foam.
I mean, I can speak, like, I foam a little bit differently now than I did a few years ago, thanks to HRT, but, you know, I still do my best. Like,
Well, I will say that for anyone that has not listened to foam, you are under the umbrella of rock and roll music.
Mm-hmm.
You had mentioned psychedelic for sure. I get a lot of psychedelic influences, a lot of like really cool experimental guitar textures with like really solid bass and drum rhythms, kind of creating this cool landscape of just what I personally feel is really, really good, impressive songwriting. So I just wanted to glaze you a bit
Yeah,
and
thank
let you know that I think that the stuff's good.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, it's definitely taken like an influence from like, you know, like more like the modern take on like old sounds, like 60s sounds, like, you know, what modern psych rock bands do, kind of combined with that sort of like 70s progressive rock feel.
Yeah, there's like a lot of eras and like a lot of influence of eras that I could hear in your music, and I don't even know how much of it is necessarily intentional, but you get a lot of like this like very obvious like who hasn't listened to classic rock? It's obvious that it's there.
Yeah.
But then there's also like weird tinges of things that I'm hearing like, and I don't know if this is intentional, but I'm like, this kind of sounds like Incubus.
I
or
love
like,
Incubus.
you know, like little like things where it's like you're pulling from like, again, like just different generations of like really good rock music. You know?
You're the first person to ever say Incubus, because I love Incubus, and I think that's definitely inspired like a lot of like
it's in the
effect driven.
Yeah, like those
aspect
guitar
of it.
textures and those types of things. And like I think it seems like there's a lot of thought put into like the vocal structures and the melodies of things and how things are dancing, which is also like very much like a Incubus type of thing.
Yeah, it's interesting because usually for us, like the vocals and the melody and stuff, it comes last. And I think it's also the way like I had been doing it for a while, because we've had some lineup changes and stuff like that. So it really started as like kind of like a solo recording thing that evolved into a band. So I think a lot of that, like the instrumentation and the layering of things, were just more thought out, and then the lyrics and stuff are like kind of more just like the icing on the cake.
For sure. So Foamer, you started out as a solo foamer.
Yeah, just solo foam. It's like a whole story. I mean, that spans over like a few years, because it's like, you know, when I first thought of it, the idea, and started getting songs together versus when, you know, started recruiting people to be in a band. It was like 2019. I like failed to start a band. I had like this bad just bad luck starting a band with people. I tried to start a band.
That's what starting a band is.
Yeah, it's
even when you're in a band, the bad luck doesn't stop.
Yeah, so I wanted to do a different approach. Exactly. It's and you still do with lineup changes and whatnot, but what happened is like it failed to start. I was trying to start like an alternative rock band, and just classic problems like differences in the direction you want music going in, conflicts with scheduling,
of course,
and whatnot. And so I remember talking to my friend. I was like, I don't know what's wrong. Like, why I can never get something to start? Because I was the only one of my friend group that wasn't in a band. I was always the guy going to shows and being like, "Oh, do you play music too?" I'm like, "Yeah, I swear I do. I'm writing something. It's gonna be great." But off of a friend's advice, he was like, "Yeah, you kind of have an idea of what you want to do, so why don't you just do as much as you can on your own? And then what comes to a live thing, recruit friends like you have all of us. We can always find someone to play guitar or whatever." So that kind of like became like the idea to start out, but with the intention of it always forming into a band. So I kind of like did the initial Kevin Parker type approach of just like writing and recording all these demos, recruited my friend Lucas to play drums because I'm not a drummer. And he became our original drummer. So when it became time to start like an actual band, I just pulled a bunch of friends and we kind of had this thing where it's like, I was the face of the band and whoever was available. I had like a core group of people. Like Lucas was always like, the drummer I would hit up. If not, I'd hit my friend Evan. If not, we don't do the gig. And I had like that for every instrument. Like, you're my guitar guy, you're the bass guy. Like, if you're on stage with me, it's your band too, because we're going to always treat it like a band because I didn't want people to think it was a solo project. And then it kind of just took off from there. And we've had some member changes, but Cecily here joined back in December. We got a new drummer, Mitch. We still have Eddie as our guitar player, but it's been pretty uphill ever since then.
That's great. I think that your friend's advice was sage and wise. I think one of the best things you can do, especially if you have the capability to do it, just get those ideas out, because then it really helps you have like this good like proof of concept, and then you have something to show to people. But it does also kind of suck like having that like responsibility of having to write everything, and then whenever you are getting people to play this stuff, it's like, well, this isn't something we did together, but it does change over time.
Yeah. And
so now, like, I'm kind of curious, like, what's the writing process like now as you've acquired some like-minded individuals?
Well, we have a lot of unreleased stuff that we've been playing live for a while. We're going to start recording this summer, the rest of it. So we got like an album we're sitting on, playing all those songs. So now it's kind of we're at a point where it's like I'm bringing in ideas for whatever comes in after that and start working on those. I want us to start writing as a band. So we've really been discussing lately how we're going to do things going forward as far as like getting these songs that we already have in the live set like recorded, and then how we're going to make things going forward. Because it'd be nice just once we're done with this album and just start recording an EP or something like that, whatever.
Yeah, just keep the gears turning. So it's like, in a way, the band is still kind of like finding what its voice could be.
Yeah, it is. Because like my songwriting always outpaces my work ethic as far as like getting stuff recorded. But the way I would do it before, when we had our old lineup, is our drummer at the time, our old drummer Lucas, he was living in Uniontown, so we'd only rehearse when we had gigs. So a lot of like the songwriting stuff, it wasn't like, okay, let's write as a band. It was like, let's rehearse a set so you can go home.
Yeah.
And make your journey. So it was really, a lot of it fell on me. But now I'm now that we have like members where we can actually have weekly rehearsals and stuff, and now I want it to be more collaborative. So it's more just how I see it evolving and stuff. Like, I always have a bunch of ideas, but instead of maybe me making an entire fucking demo and wasting like 3 weeks of my life like locked inside, I can bring it to a band and we can have it like hashed out at the end of rehearsal.
Sure.
So that's kind of how we've been discussing. We actually had a discussion yesterday because we had a gig yesterday outside in Bellevue. So we were talking about it when we got lunch. We got brunch because I ate breakfast and lunch at the same time. Like,
it was a brunch
hungry.
for me as
I was
well.
hungry. Yeah.
With that with your like writing process, whenever you are bringing ideas to a new group of people that you're working with, do you find it hard to kind of like let go of this vision and let other people contribute to things, or do you feel like a lot more welcoming about having other people contribute stuff?
I'm usually welcoming as long as like people are invested in the project. Because I think the biggest problem before with old lineups was like, do people see themselves as a hired gun, or do they want to actually be a bandmate? Now it's like I'm always trying to enforce the band dynamic. But I think with the lineup we have right now, because it seems very like permanent. So now it's kind of more like I definitely welcome it. I always tell them like, we can bring ideas. Like I don't have to be the chief songwriter. Like I'm just like the captain of this ship. We're all aboard. It's our band.
Yeah, I think that's like when the fun stuff happens. If you have a group of people that are all inspired by different things, and if you could find some way to bring all of that chaos together, and you start to actually create something really beautiful because you're mixing ideas that you wouldn't think of. I've been making music since I was like a child in different ways, right? But like I have my way I do things, right? Like no matter what I do, I can't like escape the chokehold of Linkin Park's hybrid theory. Like it's just like it exists in my DNA. Whatever I do, it's there. But like if I work with 4 other people, as long as I'm the only Linkin Park one, we might end up with something really cool at the end of it, right? Because everybody's bringing in something different.
Yeah, I like that. And like your playing might be like based off like one specific member of a band that you listen to. But I like, because we're not really like trying to sound like anyone specific. So bringing in different influences like that definitely helps shape a unique sound, because you want to sound like you guys, and you sound like that way just by going off, what you listen to and how you bring that into the bigger picture of things. When I'm writing, like if I'm making a demo at home, it becomes very obsessive and stressful. But I think just growing as an artist and growing as a person just helped me kind of let go of that, like you said, and let other people in, because it kind of becomes intriguing now, like the fact just having multiple heads working on a certain thing. Maybe someone will come up with something you never even thought could be a part of that.
Yeah.
I had that whenever we worked on our first EP too. Like our first single, Combust, my friend Josie sang lead vocals on that. This is also around time where I was still getting comfortable with writing stuff, but I couldn't at all like come up with a melody or lyrics or anything that I wasn't gonna be embarrassed of the next morning when I look at it. And I just gave her this tune. I said, hey, here's kind of what I'm thinking for some vocals, but I was like, write whatever we feel about. And then she came back to me one time. She's like, yeah, I wrote some lyrics. It's about people and stuff.
As songs are.
I'm like, yeah, like that sounds cool.
Yes.
I'm like, that sounds cool. I like that idea. It's a great concept. And but I didn't hear what her melody was until we had to actually start recording it. We were doing it at my friend Cody's house, and I'm just like sitting by her, and she starts like doing this weird, like kind of like drifting like vocal technique. I don't even know what you call it, but it was so like soothing to the ears. It was just like, it just really hit well, like gave me goosebumps. I just like look over, I'm like I could never even thought of that. So it's like, I'm glad that I kind of let go of that, like I have to be the one singing this, or I have to be the one writing the lyrics. It's like, it can be our collaboration. It's just gonna have Foamer on it. Like, but like, it's like you're part of it.
Yeah. I think, listening through a chunk of your music, I've noticed that there is a lot of, and I don't know if this is intentional, but I feel like there's, with the type of music that you're writing, you could really kind of go off the rails if you wanted to. But I feel like there's a lot of restraint that I really respect in like the composition, where it's like, instead of just going off on a tangent, it's like, we'll take you a little bit, but we're going to bring it back home and not like be like too indulgent, but it's still like very unique. And all of the songs kind of have their own identity, which is cool. Like there's sometimes like things that are like, oh, this is like way more psychedelic than I would have anticipated. And then there's stuff where it's like, I could hear like an alternative, heavier edge to it, where it's like the bass, like the rhythm section is really like punching, and I'm like, oh, like this sounds like this is like bordering on like very hard rock, like almost like metal inspired.
Yeah.
But then it goes to like Incubus, and I'm like, whoa, we're just like all over, but it makes sense. It's really cool.
Yeah, it was. I think a lot of that has to do with like the transition in my own personal music taste. Whenever I went from like failing to form a band to like starting this little solo recording thing that became Foamer, because I was listening to a lot of alternative rock. 'Cause, like this band I was trying to start before that, I wanted to sound like Foo Fighters,
Yeah,
and stuff like that. And that's really the band that got me into songwriting. So it's like I always had that like idea of like I like very energetic, like, loud music, but I also like stuff that's very Beatlesque and very melodic and stuff like that. So I liked having the different balance, but then I started getting into a lot of indie rock, a lot of like modern psych rock. I heard this band, Post Animal, that I really like. They got me kind of into like really wanting to start writing like more psychedelic sounding music. And then I got into King Gizzard, and then I realized that they really go off the rails. So I was like,
sure.
But I always like, being my own biggest critic and like knowing when to like kind of like ease things back and just kind of get into that kind of producer mindset for your own stuff and just be like, okay, this doesn't need to be a 9-minute song.
Well, sure. I think that like, sometimes there's space for things like that, but I feel like it doesn't, it's like the salad bar, right? Like you don't have to put everything on your fucking plate. You have one plate, get enough that it's comfortable. You could go back and make another plate.
Yeah.
Like each song is a plate, right? You don't have to put it all into one big fucking, I mean, you can. Sometimes that's okay. But
and then kind of like a counterpoint to that is that sometimes you see the salad bar and you're like, oh, this is a challenge, isn't it?
Challenge accepted.
Yeah.
Challenge accepted. And then you get halfway through your plate and you're just like, why did I do this? So you kind of come to the same lesson anyway, but like, different pathways.
But it's all going in the same place.
Yeah. I mean,
the toilet.
I mean,
yeah.
It depends on like your what is your what appetite does your mind have that day? What do you need for your sonic desires to be fulfilled in this creativity sort of buffet, as they call it?
Yeah, and it's also just sort of a release, just like, it's therapeutic, being able to sit down and create something from scratch and just maybe not really have an idea of what you're doing, but just take it in some kind of direction, see what amounts from, and being patient with yourself. That's been a big thing, and with others that I've just learned as a band leader, just being patient with people. But yeah.
And you can kind of do, like, there really are no rules, like if you write a 5-minute psychedelic rock song, that doesn't mean that you have to be the 5-minute psychedelic rock song band. You know what I mean?
Right.
You could do like the King Gizzard thing and be like, oh, here's a thrash metal record. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Like, whatever. Why not? It's like, don't worry, 2 weeks from now, we're going to release some like weird Beatles shit.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Just do whatever you want.
I like that. It's because it's the idea of, it's like, when I listen to that band, I'm like, holy shit, you can do anything. You don't have to be like limited, like, oh, we only play this genre or something. Like, I listen to so much music that like I want to explore different paths, and I'll get into a new band and I'll be like, oh, that sounds cool. I'd like to write something like that. So I really don't feel like we are very limited into what sounds we can explore, but it's also like we still want to sound unique and we still want it to sound like us. So it's really just defining what sounding like us is. But I think it's pretty broad. I think with what we have out now and with the stuff we're working on now, and I think it's just gonna the stuff we're working on now is just like very more proggy and more a little out there, but out there in a good way.
Well, I mean,
like it needs to be.
From my seat, it seems like you got everything you need. You got some, a handful of guitar effects, a tight rhythm section, some keyboards. What else do you need?
It's quarantine money well spent. That's my pedal board. Anytime someone looks at it, I'm like, yeah, the government paid for my pedal board. But no, I like that a lot. I just
So, Cecily.
Hello.
I'm curious about your background in terms of Foamer. Noah mentioned that you had joined in December.
Yes.
But I imagine you've been doing music things for a little bit longer than 5 months. So let's talk about that.
So I have a very diverse background, stylistically speaking. I went to school for sound recording technology at Duquesne. And I like performing wise background in orchestral, in like a choral background, a jazz background as well, but also like a rock background. Like I've been playing double bass since I was 9 and electric bass since I was 12. And pretty quickly after the electric bass came along is when I started to form bands. Um, my longest running band at this point would be like the Alpha Omega.
Yep.
Which I started that literally in my dorm room at Duquesne with Chris Wood whenever we were 18, and he's 31, I'm 30 now. So I'm coming into this with very much like a little bit of like an accrued like tool set with being in a band, and so like, but I also like can recognize Noah's thing about like, the band that kind of starts out as a solo project, because like the only like with Alpha Mega, like that was really Chris and I for such a long time. And then only, I mean, like middle of last decade, yes, but also even like it feels even more recently that like it's really started to like develop into like a band. We're like talking with like with the other band members about what they want to do, like opening up the floor to like extended improvisation and jamming, which has always been like an aspect of it, but it's become a lot more in focus recently. And then, that being what I bring into Foamer, where like, like Noah and I started, like we became friends like last year. And like I went to a few Foamer shows, really liked what I heard and then, like whenever I found out that Noah was looking for a bass player, I was just like, hello.
She comes out to me at bars.
Don't I look lovely as a bass player? And like, and then so like,
Chris was just like, she's got a Rickenbacker. I'm like, okay.
It's true. I am a chick with a Rick. That is correct. So yeah, like we started talking like sometime in the autumn, and then like, December was kind of like when we were like solidifying, like, yes, I am definitely joining this band.
Yeah, and just kind of like communicating and making sure we're on the same page, like with how I want things to be going forward. Basically, like, hey, I'm looking for bandmates, not like, hired guns for a solo project. So it's just as long as you want to do that and you want to, play, record music, like let's work off each other's schedules, see what we can do.
And like like kind of coming into it, there was like, I don't want to say apprehension, but just sort of like a little bit like trying to get a sense of what the expectations were going to be for me in terms, like, for example, like Noah's a pretty good bass player, like his demos, like he's the one playing bass. So I'm listening to the demos, I'm following along with the chord sheet. I'm like texting him being like, hey, how much of this is like, do what I did on the demo, and how much of this is like, go off, sis. And then like finally getting into rehearsals in January with Mitchell and with Eddie and with him, and just very quickly, any apprehension, any anxiety I had about that, I was just like, oh no, this feels really natural, actually. Like this very quickly came to an understanding about like what me in Foamer is going to look like.
Yeah. I think it was cool too, because I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Oh my God.
But, because she wasn't the only one joining the band at the time. We also had a new drummer, Mitchell. So I think the fact that she wasn't the only one, I think made a little more comfortable, because they didn't really know each other, but have become like a phenomenal rhythm section together.
Yeah, like literally, like by the end of the first rehearsal, I was just like, yeah, this is going to go well, because me and the drummer are connecting like instantly.
That's great.
Yeah.
And it just felt right just from the start. So I'm like, okay, this is starting to feel like an actual, like, collaborative thing finally.
And like kind of like speaking more on the bass side of things, it's just like, yeah, like there are certain bass lines like in Slenderman or hitherto unreleased song Media Circus, where there is like a specific line for at least part of the song that I need to play.
But that's the thing, because it was started. These songs started around a bass line with me just noodling around on a bass, and sometimes it's just wherever the song begins from. Sometimes I'll come up with like a drum idea that I heard in a different song. I'll be like, oh, here's something I'll program that kind of sounds like that, but I'll put completely different like guitar sound over it to make it sound, like an original thing.
Yeah, totally.
And but then otherwise, just like kind of like, I do have a large degree of freedom, even from like rehearsal to rehearsal, performance about what I'm doing, and like kind of like, I'm very much the type, like live stage is like the place to be experimenting with some of this, like see like, okay, what's going to work for this section versus what needs to still be revised. And like kind of like after a while starting to lock in like a pretty regular part, but also like, it being a very exploratory process, and also like, also just trying not to overthink it and just kind of be like, well, these are the chords. This is like, I have the toolkit to know what to do with these chords, like what bass lines to try to play. And like, and yeah, like I've felt very comfortable in that role because like, I feel like Noah gives me a lot of freedom in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
You know, even with like the more like prescribed bass parts, like just kind of like, yeah, like these are the notes, but like, I play it differently than he would play it versus the way that like another bassist would do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's a place that I really enjoy being, more so than it being like a Zappa-esque, like kind of like, if you play one wrong note, I'm going to stop the rehearsal and call you out kind of thing.
Yeah. It's also like, if you mess up, it's like, the fact that you messed up, it's how you pick yourself back up.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
like anyone who's ever messed up, and I mess up something every show, like it's just how you pick yourself back up, and never had a problem with that. So
yeah, it's, there's the live experience is a live experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I find it very, I don't know, I feel like if I was talking to myself like 15 years ago and saying this, I'd probably tell myself to shut up. But now in my old age, it's just kind of like, it's not that serious. Like, as long as everybody's genuinely trying to do the best that they can, like, I'm not going to be mad. It's like, I know you're trying to. Do I just have a fucking XLR cable around? Has this been there?
I was wondering about that, actually. I assumed it was intentional.
This is so fucking funny. I was cleaning up earlier, and I was like, I need to like not set. I need to remember to set this down somewhere. Jesus Christ, my life is fucking in shambles, just covered in cables.
Girl, same.
That's so fucking funny. Anyways, where the fuck was I? About, because I've been in positions where you got to bring new people on board for projects, and they're learning songs that are already written, and it's just like, it's never going to be perfect, and I don't even know if I necessarily want it to be perfect, because my expectations are always changing, and the songs are always changing, and it's just like, just let it happen.
And I think that attitude is even more important now than it's ever been, really, because it's just like, I've talked about this with a lot of like our friends in music and art and all of that. Like, in the age where like you can enter a text prompt and have like a created piece of like, it feels like ash in my mouth to call it art, but you know what I mean? Like having that really human experience with music, and like kind of like there being fuck ups, there being like, idiosyncrasies that like don't make sense on any kind of logical standpoint, or even like an aesthetic standpoint.
Yeah.
Like, I think that now is the time for that stuff to really come and really be like, like almost like a modus operandi. Cause it's just like, because that's what makes us different from the machines. Like that's like, and like that's what makes us kind of hard to quantify, hard to replace, and I don't think that we'll ever be replaced by the machines, because like the machines are going to inevitably break down. Like, whether it's because they stop working the way they're intended, or if they just stop working at all, we will still be here. And like, our children, the next generation of artists and musicians and actors and all that will also all still be here. And like, like I have a very like broad hope for the future because of the fuck ups, because of like the things that makes art human.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that, it's really valuable to, I don't know, embrace mistakes, embrace the fuck ups. I think I've told this story before on the podcast, but I'm going to tell it again. My drummer in Normal Creatures, Leo, sweetheart, his mom did this painting of him when he was maybe like, I don't know how old the painting is, but it's a painting of him like playing the drums. Mm-hmm. And it's a very like, it's very stylized, right? Like it's a very interesting piece of art. Like it looks like almost like he says it looks like, like the Far Side comics. Like it looks like very like, it's very stylized, right? And like, he has this perspective of just like, He's like, it's just kind of like this conversation, like, is this a good piece of art or not? And I'm just like, it's awesome because somebody made it.
Yeah.
And like,
especially like someone like who like you have that relationship with and in that way.
Yeah, it's like this is, and I think the thing that's great about art, like visual art like that, or like music, when like you allow it to just come out of you without too much post editing and too much like outside force, like that's the way that this person sees the world artistically. And the way that you make music is like, that's how you hear things and you're able to put that out. And that's great, without these unique contributions, there's no reason to even put out art anymore. If you're just going to do everything that looks and sounds the same, what the fuck's the point? It already exists.
Yeah.
If you have something new to contribute, then it's worthwhile.
Yeah, I think the less of a perfectionist you are with things, like the more honest it is. I mean, that's why I like albums like Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys, even though there's a lot of like different things going on there. It's just like someone's outlook on their life.
Fucker, don't talk about Pet Sounds on my podcast. No, I'm joking.
Didn't you have Beach Boys here the other week?
Yeah, I did.
I was wondering when that joke was going to come up.
Yeah, I was on that record.
But no, I think that it's just in a time where it's, it's so, especially as a musician, it's so easy to be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It's not hard. To put yourself out there. And actually, the one thing that I really liked about, actually one of my favorite comments from that Beach Boysy conversation was when we were talking about AI, and the point was brought up that like, sure, like you can use AI to write songs for you or use like all of these post-production tools to make your stuff sound perfect.
Mm-hmm.
But if you get really popular from that, you eventually are going to be put in a position where you have to, like, you're in a hot seat, I think is how it was phrased, where like, you're going to have enough eyes on you and you're going to have to actually be able to do this. And if you can't do it, then everybody's going to know that you're full of shit, basically.
Yeah, you're under the microscope.
Yeah. So like, I think that is where anybody that is genuinely like getting famous off of this stuff, that will happen,
Mm-hmm.
But then you have that like, what was like the anime idol, like Hatsune Miku or whatever, that was like, you have like these like AI things where it's like it's all artificial,
Mm-hmm.
it's not even I'm getting off on a fucking tangent here, let's not even talk about AI anymore. But it's just like, I think bringing it back to what we were talking about in terms of just being human. I think it's a very, very, very good time to be human and not be afraid to just be yourself and do whatever you're going to do, and not be concerned with sounding like X, Y, or Z, or trying to be bigger than or better than A, B, C, D, E. Like what it's, I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe all that shit's just so silly.
I think the goal should be just to create. You want to create something that lasts forever, because none of us last forever. And I also think it's just like, I don't always think validation needs to be a goal. Like I'll make something. I don't give a fuck if like 5 people listen to it or 5,000 people. I really don't care. It's just like the fact that I put something out there and it's gonna last forever, and it's out there for anyone to come across, and the fact that anyone could come across it at any point is kind of an exciting thing.
Yeah,
it's kind of like that glass half full, glass half empty type concept.
I think that we are here, a table of degenerates, freak, weirdo, lunatics, art fucking ding dongs, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we have been fortunate enough that over the past decade, 2 decades, 10 decades, however long, we've cultivated this community of, fucking art weirdos.
Mm-hmm.
And I think when you're in that bubble all the time, you sometimes forget how special it is to be able to I recorded a fucking song and released it.
Yeah.
That's something that we all do.
But how many people
most people don't fucking do that.
For the vast majority of human existence, the means to be able to do that at all were non-existent, let alone so easily accessible on the individual level that
yeah. And it's, it's really cool that we get to do these things. So I think being able to take a moment to be present and be able to actually, I don't know, have a little bit of self-love, a little bit of self-respect, a little bit of like pat yourself on the back. Like, I fucking did this. And it was a pain in the ass. It was hard. Writing music is hard. Recording it is hard. Releasing it is hard. You know, like
it's always great.
It's a lot of work.
It's great to think about, like, you know, when it's all done, you'll have that.
Of course.
And it's like every time I finish a demo, like I'll like cry. I feel like I have like a newborn.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this song's my baby.
You know, like it's like any time like somebody's like, we just finished an album. I'm like, poof, God bless you. You know, like
go get some sleep.
Tough. It's really, really tough.
No, I really resonate with that really hard in terms of like, it is tough when you get to the end of the process like that. And like, maybe this could be more of a topic for a potential Alpha Mega appearance, but very, very briefly.
You can come back anytime you want.
Hell yeah. But like, it took us like 9 years to make our album.
Cool.
And it was hell. Like it sucked. Like, I'm really proud of that album. Chris is really proud of that album. I don't want to make another album like that though. Like,
well, the thing though is like, what I imagine is like, when you're like a band and you're like making your first record, right? Like, you're like giving yourself the time to find out who you are.
Yes.
Like, you think about like, I mean, think about like anything that exists. Like, you know, it needs time to grow, to get to walk, to find out who it is, you know, what is its identity? You know, sometimes it takes things a long time to really kind of form into like what they're truly going to be.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I'm sure in a lot of ways, even though it was a pain in the ass, you could probably hear all those 9 years. And it's probably great that you didn't do it. You know, like I have buddies that, I mean, I guess like if you're in like some like shithole grindcore band, which, you know, hey, you know, all respect, love it.
Yeah.
But like, and you could crank, like, we started a band fucking 4 weeks ago and here's an album. Cool. You know, but it's just different. You know, there's different wants and needs for different types of things, and however long it takes is however long it takes.
Yeah, you don't have to rush it.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said.
Exactly. And I'm bringing that experience into Foamer as well, in terms of like having ideas, but how we can do this album we're going to start working on like efficiently, but like still giving it room to like organically like propagate.
Of course.
You know, because I think that like, because I think that like that's going to be like one of the most important things. Is just like, we want the album. I mean, like, this is me. I guess this is me projecting onto Noah. Noah can be like, no, screw you. But like,
just keep talking about Alpha Omega.
No, I'm not. No, I'm talking about Foamer now. I'm talking about Foamer.
I'm messing with you.
Yeah, but like, but like, just kind of like wanting it to be like us in a room, like us, just like, this is how we are, and like, yeah, like there'll be overdubs, there'll be like, you know, it'll be mixed in a way that like meets a certain professional quality, sure, but like, but just kind of like, there are ways to make music like that quickly. And luckily, like, Mitchell and I are both experienced with audio engineering, and, you know, like, we can, and like, so is Noah, obviously, so we can have like a moving, dynamic conversation about what we need to do in order to get this record done the way we want it to be done.
Yeah.
And do it comfortably. Like you said, we don't have to rush it. Like, I think that sometimes becomes a thing where people get so worried that they haven't released something in a while. I mean, we released an EP 2 years ago, and I'd love to have something out tomorrow, but, you know, I don't want it to be, you know, a pile of shit.
Yeah. Something that I've found from like my past experience of being in bands and trying different things, we can get into a conversation about like social media strategies.
Mm-hmm.
Hot take. It's all bullshit.
Yes.
No, it's all fucking bullshit. You know, like, either you're popular or you're not, or maybe you'll get there someday, you know. But what I will say is just like, I don't think like force feeding your content and like attacking people basically to try to like make them listen to your music is ever going to work.
Yeah,
it is never going to work.
You just put it out there and be like, if you want to listen to it, here it is. Like, here's how you can find it. But
I mean, you have to put in like some effort, obviously.
Yeah,
right?
I
like,
mean, that's the age we live in.
But like, you can't, like, I don't know. I see like, it's like, I feel like I'm like genuinely being attacked by some of these fucking people that I follow that are peers and acquaintances. Maybe even some are friends. you know, and like, it's not my fucking business to tell anybody what to do with their art. Do what you want. All I can say is like, I'm a pretty tolerant person and this is making me feel fucking uncomfortable. So I can't imagine what somebody else feels about like when they're just getting yelled at by you, like, listen to my song, listen to my song.
Yeah, it's like you're being cold called.
Just share the art. You know, I feel like if you, I don't know, for me, I guess whatever feels right for you. If that feels right for them, God bless them. But for me, it's just like, I want the music to be at the forefront of everything that I'm doing.
And if it's good enough, it'll speak for itself. Like, it'll catch your attention.
Yeah. But I mean, it does suck that we do kind of live in this environment where the main avenue that we have to communicate with other people is also corporate hellscape, and we have to like share our art in the same avenue that I'm getting like Pantene Pro V ads. Like, I fucking need a goddamn shampoo fucking advertisement, you know what I mean? Like, what, or like fucking Pepsi or whatever else. Like, you know, everybody's getting all of this. Everybody's getting attacked by everybody all the fucking time.
Remember when the internet wasn't like this?
Oh yeah. I remember, I have very, very fond memories of like I would be at work. You know, I mentioned upstairs, I worked at Blockbuster Video because that's how old I am. But I would get home from Blockbuster Video and check my MySpace. You know, and like, oh, I got a couple messages. Oh, we got a show offer, you know, like cool, you know, like it wasn't like this thing that's like all the fucking time.
Yeah, I discovered this cool new band called Arctic Monkeys. They're on MySpace.
You know, like there's just so much being thrown at everybody all the time.
Yeah.
It's completely overstimulated.
I also think like when it comes to like doing that as a band, like, you know, you have to promote your content, but it's like a whole different skill set that you have to develop. It's just like being like a promoter. It's almost like being an influencer. And it's like, you know, if I wanted to, you know, channel my narcissism into a career, I'd be a musician. But
sure. You know, a long time ago on my podcast, I'm gonna quick shout out to Mike Hitt. We were talking about this like probably close to 10 years ago now at this point. But he was saying then just how frustrated he was with the idea of like, look, I already spent it's like, you know, I'm in my 30s. I've spent my entire life learning how to produce music and make music. I don't have another fucking 10, 15 years to learn how to be a fucking business person. You know, like,
it's also just annoying being glued to your phone all day.
Totally.
Like you feel like that expectation that you have to. I like, and I'm not thinking of anyone in particular, but like I'll see bands out there from wherever, just like blowing up on social media because they're really good at doing social media, and maybe they've got to a point where they can hire people to do that for them. But then I'll listen to the music, and it's just like, this sounds like, you know, 20 other like you know bands of whatever genre.
Yeah, I mean, you know, there's some people, it's just luck. Some people just have that it thing that works for them. Some people have money. You know, I mean, like there's a certain ceiling that no matter what, you're never going to get past without a team. You know, like even like, you know, I remember back in the day with like Chance the Rapper being like a very big independent artist. Kiss my ass. Kiss my ass. You can frame it however you want. It's not like him alone in a room making all this stuff happen. No, there's like a fucking machine behind that makes these things happen. I was laughing about like all of the did you see any of like the geese as a psyop stuff online? And it's just like, stop. They're just a band from New York City that had money to promote their shit. This is how music blows up.
Yeah.
You know, never trust a band from New York City, okay?
Never. Yeah, exactly.
What do you think's going to happen? But no, I mean, it's like, and that's not even like saying anything bad about like, there's really good songwriting and things that are happening behind that helped. You know, you can't be total dog shit and put money behind something.
If there was truly nothing there, they wouldn't have blown up the way they did.
No, of course not. Yeah. But it's just funny that like people act surprised by the way things happen. But even like the smallest creators, like I know people that are like TikTok famous and that they're not music people. They're like, but they're, you know, they're in the business.
they have like, and I'm talking like pretty like they do well, but it's small scale. But even they have like managers and partners and things where it's like it's all like, oh, this is just me. It's like, no, it's not just them. There's like a team of people behind it that are helping to do these things.
Yeah,
so
it's like, how much have you done like on your own since you started this thing? Like I remember like probably like when I was in college, when like One Direction was a big thing. These people I knew, they were like comparing them to the Beatles because of the whole like, they're a boy band. This is like kind of what that equivalent was back in the 60s. I'm like, no, they were just picked by a bunch of, corporate fucks from the music industry.
Literally, like they
didn't play in Hamburg.
Yeah.
They didn't play 8 hours a day in Hamburg for like, 7 months straight and,
sure,
put all the blood, sweat, and tears into that.
Abusing benzodrines and like,
yeah, getting deported.
There's a lot of, there's stuff.
Falling in love with a German woman and then subsequently dying, like one of the original members did.
yeah, that didn't happen in One Direction.
Yeah, not yet. Give it time. Well, then they had some drama. Didn't one of them die?
Yeah.
Oh, dark.
Yeah.
Yeah. Life.
That's
happens.
true. Circle of life.
Eventually, everyone dies.
That's true. It does happen.
Some of us like to pretend like they're never going to die, and like it's, oh, you're so cute. Like,
yeah.
How long ago was that?
Like a year or two, I think.
Oh yeah, it was in recent. If I can remember it, it had to have been in recent memory.
I don't know why that's real in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, real.
But yeah, with just being a band, like what I have found my practice personally, I'm not giving out any secrets here. It's just when you got something to talk about it. If you don't, keep your fucking mouth shut is pretty much how I view things. Because like, if I'm just like constantly recycling stuff, then whenever I do have genuinely something that I want to share, people are going to be tuned out. Like it's almost like a boy who cried wolf scenario. Like he's always yelling about something, but it's just nothing. And then finally, like, oh, here's this album that I spent, 9 years of my life working on.
Yeah, you don't want to be oversaturated.
Yeah, I don't know. There's no really right or wrong way to do it. I just think that, I don't know. We're all in a lot of ways as artists. I say this a lot, but like introverts.
Yeah.
So it's like so weird to have to be forced into this extroverted position. But I don't know. And there's always like a lot of people do like the talking points of like how well do you think that like would we have like a Bob Dylan if he had to have a TikTok account? Would we have Kurt Cobain? Would we have I
like to think that Kurt Cobain's Twitter would have been absolutely unhinged.
He would have done really well on American Idol. Yeah.
That's a really funny point, honestly.
Because it's just like I absolutely see what you're saying with that, and I do agree with it, but it's also like kind of like it is also kind of goes the other way of like, yeah, what if Bob Dylan had to have a TikTok? Like, would that necessarily mean that he wouldn't have written like The Times They Are a Changin' or whatever, or would he have still written that kind of material, but just like it would have been influenced not by like the specific influences the real life Bob Dylan brought into it.
Yeah.
I think the issue that this conversation brings up is more that it goes back to that conversation that we were just having about teams.
Yes.
Right. I think nowadays, and I mean, God, like fucking, we can go back to talking about Frank Zappa. I feel like he was talking about this in interviews and like the fucking day of just like what labels and people with money, what they're willing to take chances on and what they're willing to put money behind. Nowadays, I think for a lot of artists, if you don't already have some sort of big following online that they didn't have to help you build, they can kind of just pick in, like basically they're just buying a brand off it. They're stealing a brand from you that you kind of created.
They're buying your brand for pennies on the dollar.
Yeah, not to label your art as a brand, but that's what it is to them. Like you are IP to them, right? And it's like, okay, well, you get to a certain point where it's like, well, if I was able to get here without you, why do I need you? Right.
Yeah.
But there's a threshold where it's like you get to a certain point where it's like, if you want to play the game at this level, your mind.
Yeah, like the gatekeepers are still very much there. The idea that social media has removed any kind of gatekeeping is laughable on its face for that specific reason of like that it is like you build up your following enough and then like that doesn't translate, and like this is my impression at least of it. I could very well be wrong, but like I'm pretty and I speak confidently. But like kind of like, you know, like social media is like one thing entirely. The music industry is a completely different thing entirely. And sort of like you still have those gatekeepers like with the labels that like, yeah, like once you've built up your brand sufficiently, then it's like, cool, we'll buy it for pennies off the dollar. And then like, you know, at that point, like it's in the hands of someone that like doesn't understand you, probably doesn't understand social media all that much, if we're being completely honest.
Yeah.
And like, you know, at that point, like where does that actually get you if you have a team that like doesn't understand you, doesn't understand how to like make your stuff resonate with the people the way that they're supposed to. And then it's just like, yeah, I don't know if that's related, but like,
I don't know. I think it's just like
it's like jazz.
Totally. It's
the ideas you don't say.
It's like I think that I guess the question ends up being, to kind of put a cap on this, like would Bob Dylan probably would have wrote the same songs, but would somebody have given them money? Would anybody have put money behind something like that now? You know, if he wasn't, you know, if it didn't have a dance, if it couldn't be like if it doesn't sell, if it couldn't be a trending TikTok thing.
I mean, now I'm just picturing a TikTok video of Bob Dylan like traipsing around his apartment to Rainy Day Woman. Just like,
well, you know, that's a prompt.
Yes.
If you want to make it happen, you can live your wildest fantasies.
I like it being just in my head.
Yeah, that's probably...
I don't need it to be a video on a screen.
So outside of the internet.
Yes.
Screens off. Besides this one that you're watching or listening to the podcast on.
I've bricked my phone.
Yeah. Let's talk about the live aspects. We were talking a bit about recording, but I'm curious to get more back into Foamer and the live experience and just being a part of the community, playing shows. There's a lot of ways we can go with here. A lot of places we can go. So in so many words, what is Foamer's opinion on the current state of live music in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania?
You can start, Noah.
Oh, I can start. I mean, I love going out to live shows around here, and I like checking out bands. Like even if I don't know the people in the band, I like going out and checking it out. We usually play like 1 to 2 shows a month. And I don't know. I don't really have too much of an opinion on it. I just like what the music community here is producing. There's a lot of talent in a very small space. I think just being such a small city, it becomes more inclusive. I think there's a lot of like mutual support when it comes to like just attending each other's shows and stuff like that. I've met a lot of cool bands just from playing out, not even just with Foamer. I mean, when I was in Beach Boise, when I was playing in the Vicks, I mean, I've met so many cool people that I didn't think I'd ever, meet, or didn't think that something like this existed in this city. I think like if you look at like the music industry as a whole, or at least in this city, like this whole music scene, there's different like sub categories of it. Like there's like a lot of punk bands. There's a few like, bands that are just playing like garage rock, stuff like that. There's, jam bands and stuff like that. And it all becomes kind of a little intertwined. Sometimes you'll see like shows where it's like, a couple folk bands on here, but there's like just a rock band too. And it's like, it kind of gets a little intermixed, stuff like that. But I don't know. For the most part, like I like the current state of the Pittsburgh music scene. I just wish there was more venues, honestly. I feel like one's always shutting down, one's always opening, and then one's reopening, and then they're changing the name of one. And
yeah,
I don't know. So I'd like to see more venues, just more opportunities for live music around here, and better parking for Middle Music Festival. Honestly, like it's always a nightmare.
You may as well just leave your fucking car parked now.
Yeah,
it's only 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
Just
yeah, kind of just borrow all your gear.
Yeah.
I'm lucky enough that like where I'm living right now, I could literally like be at like Mr. Smalls in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Like on foot, like with my bass on my back. So like, but yeah, no, like I think that like kind of like very much agreeing with Noah, but also like I think that like, you know, like Alpha Mega really started, like our first show opportunities were in like the house music scene in like Oakland and like, you know, other like disparate places around the city.
Yeah.
And I think that like, and
Shout
like,
outs to Sick House.
yeah, shout out to Sick House. Yeah.
I think that's where I may have seen Alpha Omega the first time.
I think so. Yeah. Like all
Speaking
those.
of mixed genre shows, I think we may have played a show together.
I think we did. Yeah.
Anyways,
I forget when exactly it would have been, but like,
that was probably like 2015,
something like
16,
that.
somewhere,
maybe 17.
Yeah,
like,
maybe a little later, somewhere in that range.
Yeah. So like, and like, you know, shout out to the Sick House, you know, like, but yeah, but I think that like, you know, and speaking of like those like mixed genre shows, especially like at house shows, that's how Chris and I met a lot of like very different artists. And like, it was always like including connections that we still have to this day. Like, you know, we still have phone numbers. We're still following each other on Instagram and Facebook. And like, you know, and then like, I think that like doing that time in the house scene is really important. And that like that side of, and I'll admit that like, it's been a while since I've really been to a house show.
Well, I mean,
yeah,
it gets to a point where it's like, I can't do this
anymore. It gets to a point where you're 30
and you're in a room,
you're surrounded by 18-year-olds
drinking like wine coolers, and you're like, I shouldn't be here.
Yeah, and you're and I'm just like,
I supply the booze.
Yeah, it's like no.
Well, don't admit that.
Yeah, I didn't say when.
but yeah, like in terms of like kind of like getting up, like not to make it hierarchical, but like getting up to like the next level, like I do think that like there could be more venues, like Noah was saying, where it's just like, you know, like the really like kind of like one like a little bit more formal than like the house show scene, but like not like you have to guarantee like a certain attendance,
or like
to
maybe like different sizes of like venues, like some more smaller venues that you don't necessarily have to like you said, like, you know, guarantee like 200 people will show up or something like that.
And that's no shade at any specific venue. Like but it's just kind of like, you know, like the only venue that I can think, like the only two places I could really think of that fit that bill really would be like Roboto and 222, you know, because it's just.
But they make it easy for shows to happen. It's like the more difficult you make it for shows to happen, the less networking opportunities there are there. Because I see every local show as an opportunity to network, an opportunity to have a good time. So that's why I like to going out to them, because, you know, I'll see people I know, I'll meet people I don't know, I'll discover, you know, bands I probably haven't heard of before that are local to the scene. Like maybe we could play a show with them. Yeah. I mean, in fact, I mean, I met you because you kept coming to our shows. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, I mean, now she's in the band.
Yeah, I think that, you know, that's the, if you want there to be a community, like you have to be a part of it. Mm-hmm. You know, like you have to also leave the house.
Yeah,
you can't just.
As a matter of fact, community is a two-way conversation.
Yeah, definitely,
and not just a TV show from the 2010s.
No, and it's, but you know, it's it requires effort.
Yes,
and I think that is something that, I mean, I know a lot of people. I mean, I'm not gonna call anyone out, but I will say that I have people in my life that I think they're people that I work with creatively, that are, you know, awesome at what they do, but it just, they never come out to anything. It doesn't feel like, you know, like if we're playing a show, great, I'll come out, but never like, oh, I have, you know, they just have other things to do or other responsibilities. It's not necessarily like they're just trying to fuck off. Yeah. But it's like, it makes it tough, because it's like, if nobody ever sees you out at anything, you're not going to get invited to be a part of things. You're not going to be, nobody's going to know that you exist. You know, like you need to be active if you want to be invited to things. It's like, why does nobody ever hit up my band for shows? It's like, well, does anybody even know you're a band? That's why we post stuff online, but it's like, that's different. Like, that's not, you actually need to go out, leave your fucking house.
We want that exposure too, and that's why we play like 1 to 2 shows a month. I mean, we're selective about it, but we also, you know, we're not releasing music like at King Gizzard speed.
Of course not.
So we're not, because we're, you know.
I think the best thing that you can do, and the only thing that really matters, I think, for bands that are on
a level that Foamer is on, a level that my bands are on. Like, there's no real reason for us to release music. Really, it's an inherently selfish thing to do, in my opinion.
I agree with you.
It's just actually, I do a lot of engineering. I love the art of recording and mixing, so that's fun. And it's like, well, if we're doing this, we'll put this out. Why not? But it is inherently selfish. It's not like when you're doing it yourself, it is very selfish, and it's a money sink. Right, you know what I mean? Like, why am I paying money to have my music pressed on vinyl?
Yeah.
Because I care, but also like, there's not hundreds of people that want my music on vinyl yet. It's a nice thing to have, but it's like, really all I should be focused on is just playing shows, meeting people, meeting people. And then if there's some sort of a demand for a recorded product, that's cool. It's there. But really, when you go back to like, I don't know, like the origins of like mass marketed recording music, right? This was all just like advertising, basically.
Yeah,
it was merchandising.
Well,
that's what
and the artists were a product of the industry. Like no one is writing their own songs.
Yeah, that's. I mean, you know,
with a couple very notable exceptions that then started to change the environment.
Yeah, I mean, I'm talking like pre-Beatles.
Oh yeah, well, yeah, fair enough then.
Yeah, but so you have like, I don't know. It's just like, why are we doing this? Why as an independent band are we spending who knows, a lot of money to make a music video? Yeah. You know, like, this is unnecessary. It's just kind of like an ego display to some degree. But also too, it's like, well, I went to school with these film fucking bozos and they want to make a video for us and we're having fun. Cool, do it. You know, there's like, again, there's no right or wrong thing.
Well, as long as the music's still at the forefront.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with making a fucking music video or recording music or putting it out. But it's just like, I think it's like maybe just important to remind yourself that you don't have to do these things. I think that it's like, we're kind of like told, like, maybe, I don't know. I feel like I told myself, like, this is what a band is supposed to do. You're supposed to release singles and you're supposed to make a music video and have an album and do all of this stuff. And like, you don't have to do any of that.
You can take the pressure away.
As a band, the only thing you have to do is write songs. And then if you want to play them for people, go play them for people.
Yeah.
And then let the rest fall into place. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I agree with you.
Bands shouldn't do anything ever. That's my new motto. 2026. Quit. No, I'm joking.
Okay, we're done.
Yeah.
Well, damn. Time for me to really hone in on my career in a customer service.
Yeah. But I mean,
I always want to be an accountant.
I mean, like, you know, I think that. But going back to your answer, Noah, on like your thoughts about the Pittsburgh music scene, I really like the response of, well, I don't really think that much about it, because like, it's not like I don't really think there's much to really say, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Personally,
and I love it.
Like, it exists. Just go, leave your fucking house. You know, like there's, you know, I have a goddamn, I don't know, maybe I'm doing the extra work here, but I have a Google Chrome bookmark of every fucking venue. And if I have nothing going on, if I don't have a show, I'll go through and see what the hell's going on around the city. Or sometimes if I'm bored, I just check just to see like what's going on. I'm just curious. Who's playing what shows? Like, oh, they're doing rock shows at this venue now. I thought they only did EDM stuff there or whatever weird stuff. It's like, it's just good to be in a know.
Yeah, it's nice discovering that. I mean, working at a venue too is like really, you know, helped me get that kind of inside experience with that. But I mean, when I say like, you know, I don't think about the Pittsburgh music scene, it's not that I don't care about it. I love it.
No, I know. I didn't take it that way.
No, I know you didn't. I'm kind of just going off what you said, but like, you know, it's just there. I'm a part of it.
It's like the weather. Like if you ever like step outside and it's not too hot or it's not too cold, you don't really think about it.
Yeah,
you're just kind of existing.
It's not like, give me your analysis on the weather.
Yeah, it's just like, we're here. It's a thing.
Yeah.
With the current state of Foamer, you mentioned that you have a lot of unreleased material that you seem to be kind of getting in the process of getting ready to record after talking about it's pointless to record music. No, I'm joking. I'm looking forward to hearing this whenever.
Hell yeah.
But
we're looking forward to making it.
Whenever outside of that, what else is in the crock pot of foam?
But we're trying to maybe take the band out of town finally later this year. So we're looking into just venues outside, kind of just starting baby steps, like maybe like cities that are like within a couple hours of Pittsburgh, and then, focusing on like recording in between then, and just kind of like balancing that. I mean, Cecily's got a couple other bands. Mitch has a couple other bands. So, we just try to make it all work and see what we can do in the time that we share together. So, yeah, taking the band out of town, just playing more shows, maybe play some festivals, getting on good bills around here, like with maybe bands that are coming in through from other towns, and just keep doing the same thing. I mean, just playing shows. I mean, like I said, we try to keep it like monthly. I always get like scared that like if we don't play consistently, that we're just gonna fall off the map. So but that fear is what kind of keeps me going as far as like managing this band as its leader. But
I tend to kind of just like, if I could be in a position where like somebody, like I run into somebody at the aforementioned Take a Break.
Yes.
And they're like, when's your next show? As long as I have at least one thing that I could say that's within the next 2 to 3 weeks, I feel okay.
Same.
Just so like something's happening.
Yeah.
It's not all the time. But again, I'm also somebody that plays in multiple bands. So
right.
if all of my bands were playing all the time, I'd be fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's nice to kind of have a healthy schedule. And I think like 1 to 2 shows a month is a lot, honestly.
Yeah, and that's just like on average. I mean, there's some months where we don't have any shows. Like we try not to oversaturate it, just because like, if you're playing like every week, it's like, there's less. It's just like, you're playing all the time.
There's different types of shows. There's different types of like, sometimes like we'll have a show that's like, oh, this is like somebody's album release show.
Mm-hmm.
And like we're just opening up. It's very low stakes, whatever. Mm-hmm. And then there's like this is the big band from out of town, and if you want to play this show, you got to sell tickets. There's those types of shows if you want to play that game. And then there's also like, oh, well, this is a benefit show, so like we're not going to pay you, but the people doing the benefit are the ones that are doing a lot of the promotional work. Mm-hmm. And then there's like your buddies from out of town that you're booking the venue for them, and then you're putting all this extra juice into it because you don't want to let them down. Like there's different weights and different stress levels of the types of shows that you play when you're on this level. Yeah,
and there's always like a purpose like that going into it. We don't just, I mean, we love playing shows, but it's not like right when you like start a band and you're just like taking every opportunity you can. Where it's like we're playing a show just to play a show. Now it's like, okay, maybe this is like a brewery show and they're paying us a decent amount of money, or maybe this band from out of town, they're pretty cool. It'd be a cool connection to have. Yeah, probably put on a good show, or like I really like this local band, they want us to play their album release show. All that kind of stuff. So there's always a purpose going into it at this point. So I feel like that's, a milestone for us where we can be a little more selective about shows.
And with a purpose. And what a magnificent purpose.
Well, with that being said, do you have anything coming up?
We got Millville.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we got Millville, and then I think we're playing Green Beacon in Greensburg towards the end of June. So we're kind of keeping the summer a little more spread out, seeing what kind of opportunities come across, but really starting to look into starting to record the rest of the album. So that's really a big thing, and we just talked about that yesterday. So we're probably gonna look into what kind of time we're working with, and I think we're also. I mean, you got a couple other shows too.
I'm very blessed to have an actual itinerary for my projects.
Yeah,
because there was so long where it was just Alpha Mega was the only thing I had going on.
Luckily, we have a Google Calendar.
Yes, yes, we have a shared Google Calendar.
It's been a lifesaver.
It really has. But yeah, just keeping busy with multiple projects, and just I've never been happier and more satisfied with the way that my artistic life is going, because it's just I've got Foamer, I've got Alpha Mega, I've got Orange G as well, and it's just I am very I feel very, very fortunate that's the state of things for me.
Where and when are you playing at Millville?
We're playing at the outdoor stage on Butler Street over by Smalls Cafe, like that one that's on the hill.
Okay, cool.
And we're playing at 5 on Saturday, the 16th.
Rock and roll.
Yes. Yeah, so we're excited about that one. It's
we're really excited about that one. Am I allowed to plug my other show that night?
Of course. Plug away.
And then Alpha Mega is playing 7:20 at the Double L on Grant Avenue.
Oh, nice. You get to do the hop, skip, and the jump.
Yes. Yeah. No, I literally get to walk down there with my pedal board and bass.
Yeah.
And Yeah, and like, yeah, I'm really excited for Millvale this year. Like,
I remember last year, Leo plays in My Favorite Liar as well, and they played at Harold's Haunt, and then Normal Creatures was playing at Mr. Small's Funhouse afterwards.
yeah.
So I had all of the Creatures gear and his like all of the My Favorite Liar stuff in my car, and I parked in front of Harold's Haunt at like 9 a.m. just to get the spot.
That's smart.
And then had to get somebody like when they were done, had somebody like a Funhouse, like, is there a spot for me up there? Hold it, and then like drive through the Millvale traffic up to like get in there.
That's strategic.
It was fun.
I like it.
Good stuff.
I'm gonna see if at both venues that someone else would be willing to backline the amp this year, because the amp was the thing that killed me last year.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Yeah. You kind of have to. I know that. So Normal Creatures is playing Friday night, 10 p.m. Gap Park stage.
Oh, it's a good stage.
Be there or be square. Check us out. I'm only playing it. I'm not doing. I did double duty last year. Just doing one show this year on Friday. Nothing on Saturday, which means I get to just kind of vibe and see Foamer.
Yeah, come by.
And then get foamed.
Yeah,
for sure. But we're already working on like figuring out like the back line for the stage and like messaging. Like, we're just doing it because I'm not expecting anybody else to do that. So
Historically been the attitude with us as well. Us, for certain. Yeah. But yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, before we close the book on today's podcast, is there anything else that you want to let these lovely people of the internet know?
Yeah, we spell our name with all caps.
Is that
when you spell the name?
I never correct people. I just think it's funny because I'm like,
my phone has gotten to the point where like it auto corrects to the all caps.
I always feel like I'm like yelling through text. I'm like, Foamer! Like,
actually, something I probably should have asked earlier in the episode, and it's really good to just kind of tag this on the end.
Yeah.
Is there any origin of the Foamer name?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
You ever play Rocket League?
No.
Do you know what it is?
Yes.
Yeah. I got the name from that. My friend's old house. We used to be there and just be playing Rocket League. We didn't have PlayStation Plus, so we just play like tournaments against the CPU, like 2v2. And the toughest team in that game was this team with these two CPU names. One of them was Styx, and the other one was Foamer.
Okay.
And then, so I was like, oh, one's a band name. The other one could be a band name. I'm like, And then that's kind of when I was like starting the idea of this project. I'm like, oh, I'll call it that. But then funny enough, I found out that Foamer means someone who's like very much obsessed with trains.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was ironically me as a kid. Like, I was a train kid.
Huh.
So yeah. Fun fact about me. That's what me and Jason in Beach Boys had in common.
Yeah.
We played a show and a train rolled by and he just looked at me like, I'm like, you did that. You did that, man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Cecily, anything to add to the final thoughts here?
Trans rights are human rights.
Hell yeah. Well, with all of that being said, that is all, folks. One more time, Noah, Cecily, Foamer, thank you both so much for being here.
Thank you.
Hell yeah, no, it was great. I will be back again next week with another episode. Same time, same place, same channel. You know the drill. My name is Brian Sykes-House. Start the Beat is the podcast. 2026 is the year. And until next time, take care of yourselves. Take care of the people around you. Peace out. We did it. That was a podcast. Woo!
Bye-bye.
Woo! Hell yeah. Great. It happened.
We did it, Reddit.